Hi, it's Mark from 109 Training, and I'd like to take a look at a question that's asking us to calculate crosswind limits. And this is one of these questions that, and there's lots of them in the question bank, so it's likely once something similar to this might pop up in your exam. But more importantly, this is something as pilots we need to be able to calculate quickly and confidently, and really, really important limitation, and something that absolutely, may affect our ability to fly on a certain day, particularly in light aircraft. So let's have a look at what the question is asking us. Let's think about what that means in the real world, and let's have a go at answering the question. So the question says, the pilot of an aircraft with a crosswind limit of 14 knots. So that's a fairly typical, light aircraft limit, anything between that, maybe a little bit lower, up to kind of 17, 18 knots is fairly common in light aircraft. So you're in the aeroplane for a takeoff and landing, and there's the option of 3 runways. Given a surface wind of 35018, which of the following runway gives crosswind that is under the aircraft limitations? So let's just double check we know what that's asking us. So first of all, let's think about what the wind's doing. So if we were to say that's north there, so 350, so remember the number is where the wind is coming from. So 350 is it's just off of north, isn't it, by 10 degrees. So the wind is coming from 350 at 18 knots. And so we want to take off and land into wind. So if I was given the option of those 3 runways, runway 33 is the closest to 35, isn't it? So 33 means the runway's got a magnetic heading of 330. But it's, so if we were taxiing out and we had the choice of those runways, then that's the one that we would go for. But it's not asking us that. It's asking us which are in crosswind limits. So the wind's coming from there. Let's have a look at what our runways are doing. So if we were to draw 33, so runway 33 is kind of that direction there, isn't it? Around about there, I would say 3, 3. And then runway 29 is probably around about here somewhere. If I was to draw that. And then the other one is runway 22, which is going to be over here somewhere. So if we were to just eyeball that straight away, we can see that the wind is fairly close to runway 33. It's quite cross on runway 29, and actually on 22, that's going to give us a tailwind. So straight away, we can get rid of, just with some lateral thinking, that runway 22 is not going to be an option. So anything that's got 22 in it, we can get rid of. So we get rid of that answer there, and we can get rid of that answer there. So that leaves us with runway 33 or runway 29. And there is a bit of a trick to the trade using something called mental dead reckoning that I will do a separate video on that would help us further with this question. But for the purposes of answering it today, we don't know about that. So what we're going to do is get our CX3 out as usual, and we're going to have a go at looking how we calculate it using our CX3. So as ever, the CX3 is really nice and straightforward in calculating questions like this. So we're looking for the option that is called wind component. And we're literally going to type in our options. So we're going to say our wind speed is 350. Nope, it's not. Our speed is 18 knots. Our direction even is 350. And then hit enter. So let's try for runway 33. So we're going to say runway 330. Let's check to see if it's in limits. So it says there the crosswind limits 6 knots. The crosswind 6 knots. Our limit is 14 knots. Therefore, we're in limits. We knew that already, didn't we? Okay, so let's check it for runway 29. So that was the other option that we'd left open. And we can see that the crosswind is just under 16 knots. Our limit's 14 knots, so that one's out of limits. So that leaves us only with option A, which was that 33 knots. Let me just show you that runway 22, which we dismissed really early on after drawing our picture. So runway 22, we can see that we're in crosswind limits, but we've also got a really strong tailwind of nearly 12 knots. So absolutely, I wouldn't take off in a light aeroplane with a 12 knot tailwind. So although the crosswind's in limits, and I guess academically you could say that's inside crosswind limits, because we've got such a big tailwind, and just so it's clear, on the CX3 it says headwind, but then it gives us a minus number, so that tells us that's the tailwind. So we're gonna have nearly 12 knots of tailwind. That's absolutely not something that we would accept for takeoff in a light aeroplane. So that only leaves us that one option, which was option A of runway 33. So coming back final to this to our diagram. So our only option left, as we said, is option A, which is runway 33. And again, if we just go back to those basics of eyeballing that, we can see the wind's coming from that way. Runway 33 is this one here, and that's the one that's nice and close into wind, which would give us our it'd give us our best performance, but get us nicely within that safety envelope of the aircraft limits. So I hope that's been useful, and as ever, please feel free to ask any questions or leave comments below.